You know what I always thought? I don't know if this is going to happen. We should have some kind of opening like Larry Sanders Show. Like have a Hank Kingsley kind of opening for the show.
Oh, God.
No? As opposed to just saying,
What does
hey,
that
Max.
mean?
I don't know. I just thought as opposed to me saying, hey, Max, how's it going?
Well, we should have a meeting
fucking-
about it and discuss that.
All right.
And maybe like a
Do we
song.
actually have meetings?
We can bring in a separate announcer. We can have Bekka introduce us.
That would be great.
I'm in.
We should record like an actually ongoing announcement or some kind of opening that we show or that we play every single opening.
He still thinks it's our show.
It is our show. You
It's a running
it's
joke.
the opposite. You so want to run away from this. You so don't want.
I want to run away from everything.
That's true.
You want to run away from the show or
Everything.
just in general?
But he doesn't want
Run,
to put any responsibility on himself for this.
flee.
Only if it's good. Then he's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, it's my show. But if it sucks, it's like, oh, that's all Lorenzo.
Yeah, I'm just here to talk.
That's right.
No, anytime anyone's going to stick a microphone in my face and invite me over and have some wine, I'm going to show up.
Great.
That's what I like to do.
Should we announce our wonderful, beautiful guest?
Listen, let me just say this much. I am going to be 48 years old in August. I'm getting old. And I don't like people, and I especially don't want to meet any new friends. Okay? I got enough friends in my life, and I've been burned by very dear friends in the past, so I don't trust anyone. And I moved into this building, this condo building, almost 9 years ago. And for the first 5 or 6 years, I guess I would just run into this woman in the hall. But I think you moved in later.
I moved in 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
All right.
Yeah.
So I would run into this very lovely woman, and I knew she was on the board of our building, our HOA building, or on the
HOA
HOA
board.
for the, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I thought she was extremely charming, and then I'd start to talk to her, and she was so funny. And then all of a sudden, she began to invest herself in my pug, Mickey, who has since passed.
Right. But that's really easy to do because Mickey was a charmer.
Oh, yeah, especially with the ladies.
Yeah, he was a
Right.
ladies' man,
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. So then I'm starting to talk to Bekka, who I call B, and I'm talking to her, and she's so sweet. And next thing you know, she's hugging me with tears in her eyes
Yeah.
because she knows that Mickey's dying.
Oh.
So then I'm like, well, wait a second. Is this a friend? Do I have a new friend? And then our mutual friend, her direct next door neighbor, Carrie Chow, well,
We're besties.
super close.
We're Bellflower besties.
Yeah, so they start hanging out. Well, now I'm hanging out with them.
So the intro basically for you and Max was just his dog is passing away, and without you really knowing him, you just start crying and hugging him.
Yeah, and
And you said, here I am.
I mean, that's a very generous neighbor.
Yeah.
ultimately, Carrie had spoken highly of Max for a long time. She's like, you got to meet Max. And I always call Carrie the mayor because
She's the mayor.
connects everybody.
Everybody.
She knows everybody.
And she likes everybody.
She likes everybody,
Yeah.
knows everybody.
Yeah.
She's the Captain Steubing of the building.
That's going to tie in a few minutes.
I feel like, I know, right?
Can I do something first? Can we just at least make it official?
Oh, my name?
Becca Ramos?
Becca Ramos.
Becca
yes.
Ramos. Welcome
Yes.
to Magazine.
Thanks, guys.
We're drinking wine.
I'm
We're drinking.
honored to be here.
We always drink this Opolo.
Oh.
Opolo from Paso Robles. Cheers,
Salud,
everybody.
salud.
Arriba
Thank
de
you
abajo.
for sitting in traffic from the
that's
valley to
awesome.
Santa Monica,
Of
coming
course.
to the
She's
studio.
my neighbor. She's a private jet flight attendant.
That
she's a
is
woman.
amazing.
There's a lot
She
to
is a
talk
woman.
about with
It's
this. She's
amazing
very
that she's a
interesting.
woman. She is interesting.
She's hot, and everyone. I mean, she has a beautiful bosom, which everyone. I mean, it's beautiful, but I'm always looking at the backside.
Oh, really?
And
Really?
that's why-
you never go south of the eyes ever.
No. I love breasts. I think they're wonderful. But over the course of time, you know, I've leaned over towards the ass side because I always used to date big bosomy girls. But then, you know, I met Nicole, and she's beautiful, but she's got mosquito bites, which I've learned to appreciate.
She
actually.
is gorgeously petite.
She is.
Absolutely.
That's a
is.
great phrase.
It is. It's true.
gorgeously
Yes.
petite.
But over the course of time, I've realized, I
But
think
she's great
I'm
on
more
the
into
inside.
powerful, shapely legs, and you know,
You're
around-
a butt man.
I'm a butt man.
You're a butt
Yeah.
man.
So anyway, she's here to talk to us about
My
all
butt.
kinds of great stuff.
Well, that's great. Well, we just got 30 new listeners now.
And she's very smart because if she doesn't want to talk about something, she won't talk about something.
All right.
Like she's.
So you're
really
not here
good.
to placate anybody.
I mean, she has stories that I've heard,
Right.
but I can't imagine she would tell them.
Well, tonight we're going to find out where the lines are drawn.
Yeah.
Well, that was a lead-in.
That's right. All right. So this, I mean, you know her well better than me, but from what you have told me, you are a flight attendant on private jets.
This is a true statement.
That's amazing.
Yes.
One private jet in particular, right?
Yes.
One company?
Does it have a
Can you say the
christened
company?
name?
Technically, I'm not really supposed to reveal
Let's
who
not.
I
It
work
doesn't
for,
matter.
but it's fine. I do work for a clothing designer in LA, and he's awesome and very talented.
That's a Plan B job. You do both.
Nope. That clothing designer owns the aircraft.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a company plane.
Oh,
so.
got it. So you're okay. So it's not just a private jet company.
Correct, correct.
You're a flight attendant on a company plane.
Yes.
So whenever the owner, this guy, wants to go somewhere, or is it a guy or girl?
It is a gentleman, yes.
A guy. Whenever he
Yes.
wants to fly around the world, you have to fly.
I do.
I see.
Yep.
And I'm assuming he's not on the plane alone. He's got famous people. He's got relatives. He's got animals.
Yeah, he's not as much of a
He's got service ostriches or whatever.
he's got a comfort ostrich.
Right.
Comfort peacock. He's not as much of a celebrity guy. He's not into that lifestyle. But yes, I am on call. So I always say I'm at his Bekka in call. But yeah. But
Now we have to tell people it took 18 years to do this interview.
Yeah.
I felt like.
there were a few canceled dates.
Yeah, it
due
took
to
a
my
long time to
schedule.
get here, but you're here and we're very, very happy.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you also work for another company, or are you exclusive with this company?
Exclusive.
You're
So I'm
exclusive.
hired by him and his company directly.
Oh.
And ironically, the pilots are employed by the company that manages our plane. So we have an aircraft. It's managed by an actual company that handles the maintenance and the staffing. But
And gets the pilots and everything.
I belong to my boss. That's
Uh-huh.
the best way to put it.
Do you get free clothes?
I do.
That's a nice perk.
It is actually.
Do you like his designs?
I love his designs, and
He makes clothes for women.
he does for
Okay.
women and men. And essentially, I always like to joke around because my wardrobe is a huge part of what I do. Meaning, like aesthetic is a huge part.
Sure.
And so I'm always kind of joking that I'm like a dress up doll. And the lady who outfits me, I also think that it is like kind of her version of Chinese foot binding because
Wow.
she puts me in the smallest things possible. So everything is extremely fitted, but like very sophisticated and classy, but
wow.
it's
You sound
very,
like a
very fitted.
flight mannequin, in a way.
You know, I thought she dressed like a flight attendant. This is the first I've heard that she doesn't.
But
I
so-
thought she wore the scarf around her neck and the
No, no,
blazer
no,
and the
no.
short skirt.
So what you're wearing on the plane is designed by your boss.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's really, really tight. I'm sure it looks
I'm,
hot. but
I'm a
is-
walking advertisement.
Is
well,
it
his
not
clothes,
comfortable, though?
No, it's super.
It all breathes and...
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's it's a fabric driven brand, fabric based brand. So all of his fabrics are very soft to the touch, and they're very malleable and they're very stretchy.
Wow.
So his, I'm usually in like a dress that's got, like a crew neck and long sleeves, and it comes to here, but it's super fitted and ruched on the side. So I wear a lot of different versions of his stuff, but I think that my traditional would be that fitted dress that's kind of has like a gathering onto the side.
Does he ever go old school, like the old Pan Am 60s outfits?
That's what I'm
'Cause
talking
That
about.
would be hot.
No.
I could see you in that. That would be very, very hot.
And I can see myself in that as well.
That would be
But
pretty cool.
but
But he
no,
doesn't do
he's
that.
it's
All
not
right.
his thing. I'm a walking advertisement.
You're a walking Although
Gladly.
you can't say his name.
Gladly.
No,
Nah.
okay. All right. We don't want to have him.
Does the plane have a christened name? Is it the something?
Well, it has a nickname,
What can we?
the Gray Ghost,
The gray
The-
ghost.
oh.
because
All
it's
right.
actually gray in color, and it's very unique.
Oh,
Usually,
okay.
private aircraft in general are white with
Yes,
stripes,
right.
And we are all gray with just a little bit of striping on the winglet,
right.
and that's it.
Now,
And it has one bathroom.
It has two.
Wow. And a kitchenette.
It has it's what we call a galley, but yes, it does have a full kitchen in the back where I can make full meals. I can cook. I have a stove. I have a microwave. I have an
She
oven.
does all the
I have
cooking.
everything. I do all the cooking.
What is that thing you do? I can never pronounce the word, but like
Crudité?
I'll go caricature. Is it? That's it.
Crudité?
Not crudité. What is it when you put out the cheese and the meats on a little
Charcuterie.
Charcuterie.
Coup
You,
d'etat.
you go down to Becca's house and you don't just get a bowl of popcorn.
You get charcuterie.
You get charcuterie.
Right.
You do.
And are you serving people in your flight attendant outfits at home?
No.
Is life one gigantic flight for you?
Well, one would argue that because when Max comes over, essentially I like to present. I can't not do that. I can't make it look nice. Presentation is everything in my world.
Especially to Max.
Especially to Max.
This
And-
guy is a pain in the ass.
And he always says, he's always telling me, oh, just sit down, relax, have a drink, just relax. And I'm like, but I need to make it
Don't
look
wait
good.
on me. No,
I need to garnish. I need to garnish
she
the
garnishes.
tray.
And she does a beautiful job.
I'm sure she does.
Oh, I
She's an
do.
artist.
Well, it's what she gets trained to do.
I
She gets
know.
paid to be an artist.
I can't turn it off,
Right.
Lorenzo. I
I
can't
understand.
turn it off. So
Well, but it's also a life skill. It's not like you
It
want it to look
is.
nice on the plane, but not at home.
it is.
It's something that you take with you, and anyone that's artistic should, actually.
Here is the best way to
You have to care about the
The
presentation.
best way to describe my job in a nutshell, I tell people that I am throwing a dinner party in the sky. You are entertaining
Right.
these
Wow.
folks. So not only is it presenting a meal, it's conversation, it's, keeping people happy and laughing and in a good mood. And so there's a lot of levels to it, but it's definitely hospitality at its finest.
How'd you get into that?
I was approached when I was like 20, 21.
20?
No, I was probably 21, and I was working at a bank, and I was in my last year of college, and I was about a month from graduation, and a gentleman came in, and I worked at a sports bar and the bank, and he knew me from both places, and he said, you should come be a flight attendant. And I had zero desire because I thought he meant in the commercial world. And, no offense to folks in the commercial world, it just doesn't really appeal to me.
Right.
I prefer the private jet life, I guess.
But this was a guy who worked for this company.
Yeah, he worked for the Disney family. So,
And they had a plane, and they wanted somebody.
yeah, they had a private 737, which is what we call in my world a Boeing business jet or a BBJ.
Did you like the way that you deposited his checks? Or
Wow. He was just charmed by you or something?
Oh, he was notoriously kind of
Flirty?
Oh, so what he really thought was you would look really great
Yeah,
in these tight
as a
flight
skyman.
attendant
I mean,
outfits.
to his
Plus, I bet you do great charcuterie. So.
to his credit, he did a great job of putting people together that would get along on the road, because part of this whole world is your life on the road, because you are traveling with these folks and you're having breakfast, lunch, and dinner with them if you choose to do so. And so that's a lot of together time, and
Wow.
you need to be compatible.
Yes.
You have to, it's very, very imperative.
You have to be a chill person. You can't, be set off easy.
Yeah, and there are
and
crews
you
that
just
don't
have-
get along, and,
Sure.
and it can be a nightmare.
I would think so.
So, but yeah, he approached me, and then I said I had no interest, and he came back 2 months later after he hired and fired somebody, and at that point I had graduated, and I said, all right, I'll take a meeting with you, and then
Right.
he hired me that day.
That's great. And I'm assuming the money was pretty good, too. That's have to be a draw.
Ironically, back in the day, like when I was first hired, it was not at
Really?
all. That particular operation was notoriously a little sexist. So, like the men were paid really well, and the
yeah.
flight attendants were paid like nothing. But throughout the years, yes, it actually.
So are you now suing him as part of the Me Too movement?
Oh, do I have stories about that guy? Literally, when the Me Too movement came out, I didn't post anything on Facebook, but I literally wanted to post, where do I start?
Right.
Oh,
right.
man.
And
Can
it
you
did
imagine?
start, it actually did start with that guy who hired me.
Number one, I'm sorry that happened to you.
Oh, it's honestly, these are more comical stories than they are,
well,
than they
they're
are.
probably not comical in the moment, though.
Yeah.
I bet it really is a pisser.
Well, and here's the thing: when you're getting started and you're brand new in a job where you are typically kind of objectified, this gentleman was literally sued 3 times by different women who had interviewed for the job.
Oh, no kidding.
And he was inappropriate. So he went through like 3 sexual harassment lawsuits.
Oh, what a
where they
drag.
settled. And so I always felt like, I can handle myself. But, upon reflection, yeah, he was inappropriate for certain.
Right.
And still isn't aware of it. I
Right.
guarantee you, if you asked him, hey, Tom, should you have gotten Bekka those matching bra and panties? Should you have 2 sets, yellow and white? Should you have given that to your employee? No.
Yeah, that's creepy.
So, yeah.
And is he
creepy.
still with the company?
No. So basically, that flight department closed probably 10 years ago, and with it did his career, because he I think he had such a bad reputation in the industry that, and just based on who he was, just like
Right.
a megalomaniac type of personality,
Yeah.
that he just was unheard of to find another
It was a
job.
good excuse to say, bye, see ya.
He literally worked for them for like 38 years.
Wow.
His whole career that's unheard of in my
Wow.
industry.
Well, he was the Harvey Weinstein of that company.
Pretty much.
Oh, that's really ridiculous.
Nah, he wasn't that bad. I
All right.
swear.
Hopefully, he
wasn't that
never
bad.
touched you, though.
Nope.
Good.
That I honestly think that was his distinction.
Right. And you
He
look like
can-
a girl who would punch someone in the face if they did.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Have you ever punched Max?
Oh God, no.
Oh, okay. I'm just asking.
I would never.
Good.
Nothing but hugs.
Oh, that's good. He's a teddy bear.
He is. He
I'm
is.
sorry that happened to you, though. That's
Oh,
awful.
well, I appreciate that. And, like I said, you look back on it. At the time, it's just something you roll with. But, you look back on it and say, that wasn't appropriate.
Right. But it's a power play. I mean, you're brand
was
new.
definitely-
He knows that.
yeah.
You know that. Either you're going to quit, which you don't want to do because you need a job.
Right.
And so he plays up the power thing. And
Yeah. And I think I had pride in the fact that I would always joke around and say, well, I'm a great bob and weaver. I can bob
Right.
and weave the inappropriate comments.
Yeah.
And I think his distinction was because he had this big, no hugging rule because he said, that's sexual harassment if you hug. And, it's not if you tell me my ass looks good in my skirt.
Right. And he gives you bra and panties.
Wow.
That's
and
fine.
you buy me bra and panties at Macy's
Right.
that I return for cash. Whatever.
Did you have to learn CPR? Like, do you have to
yeah,
go
I'm
through-
trained every year.
You're trained every year on CPR.
CPR and more than just that. I'm trained in evacuation procedures and overwater evacuations and everything. I'm trained like an actual quote unquote flight attendant.
Every time you get on the plane, do you pray that you don't die? Is death in the back of your mind?
Well, being the Catholic that I am,
Yeah.
I do actually. If I remember, I will actually cross myself
Yeah.
on takeoff. I am so used to it because this is my 20th year.
Wow.
That I think if it gets in your head a little too much, you will obsess over it. So I just don't really think about it. At times, if it's very turbulent, my head goes to that little dark place and then I just kind of dismiss it. But there are times when you think about it. If turbulence is that bad, which turbulence to me is just annoying
Yeah.
because I'm typically cooking.
Yeah.
Or like trying to hand somebody a coffee and not trying to spill.
And it's solution all over the place because of the shaking of the plane.
Yep. And
Yeah.
so it's just annoying. But if it is actually extraordinarily rough, then your mind does kind of quickly go there like,
Yeah.
oh, shoot, what if something's wrong? Or what if, I've had one of my first flights, I had a windshield shatter.
Oh.
We were taking off and something just hit the windshield at some point. We don't know. But luckily, aircraft windshield have 8 layers. So it was just that
The outer layer.
but
Right.
it is
Wow.
dramatic.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Sure.
whole thing
Wow.
went psh, just in front of your face. And we didn't have to emergency land, but we did land and I guess we kind of did. We landed at an airport where they had a service center and we just had to have the windshield replaced and then the seal replaced. That's the most
Right.
important thing.
But it didn't hamper the pilot's ability to get you to where you needed to go.
No,
You-
it's just
You got to that airport safely. and
We
then-
did. We actually technically did not land. We're supposed to land in New York, and we didn't land. We landed in Connecticut because that's where the service center was. And
Right.
then my boss at the time just took a train to New York.
What are the really scary moments? 20 years, there has to be something that you said, oh, shit, this is bad.
There was one moment where we have legs called deadhead legs, where there's no passengers on board. And, these are the best legs ever because you can pretend you're the person flying. You're like, hey, I'm in the lap of luxury. And there was one time where I wasn't seatbelted in, and we were in a Challenger 601, which is like it's a mid-sized jet, and it seats about 9 people extremely comfortably. And you can stand up in it. That's how I describe planes to people who aren't super familiar with the type of aircraft. And the guys hit a pocket of air, and I swear they were doing it to scare me, and they weren't. But my butt was off the seat, literally, 2 feet.
Wow.
To where I covered my head because I thought I was going to hit my head.
Oh.
So bringing it to, to practical application, when the airlines want you to buckle your seatbelt. And it's not to keep you from coming out of your seat per se. It's to keep you from hitting things like the ceiling or other people.
Right.
So
Because you will be airborne.
you will be airborne, and
Like
that's
being
the
in a
thing.
trampoline.
That's exactly how it is. So I couldn't believe how quickly my butt was off the seat like that. And now I always buckle my seatbelt. You learn your lesson pretty quickly.
Right. But there was never any kind of like the engine failed or birds went into the propeller and
we had a
you know,
flap.
like a Captain Scully kind of thing where they have to land in a body of
I
water.
mean, knock wood.
Yeah.
Let's all knock wood.
We're all knocking wood.
The likelihood is very rare for that to happen, and I've had instances where we haven't taken off because there's a mechanical issue. Recently, though, I will admit, we recently had an issue where we lost our nose wheel steering, and that was on takeoff. So we had to abort takeoff, and that is scary for people behind us. Like the passengers sitting behind us, because they don't know what's going on.
Right.
And I was sitting in my little seat, which I have kind of like a little crew rest seat, which is a whole little room by myself behind the cockpit. And we were, probably up to 40, 50, 60 miles an hour, just going along on takeoff. And all of a sudden you just come to like a screeching halt, and it's very herky-jerky. So we're going to the left and then we're going to the right, and I couldn't tell what was going on. And it was very jerky. So I stood up and I said to the guys, or they actually yelled at me to come forward. And they said, we lost our nose wheel steering. We can't take off. And that just to me was, if you lose nose wheel steering on landing, you'll crash.
Really?
Yeah, because you can't steer the plane.
Oh, I see.
So
it is like the major steering mechanism of the plane?
It's like the power steering.
The power steering.
On a car.
Okay.
So it took us 10 or 15 minutes to actually get off the runway. We were on the actual runway, and this was in the Hamptons. So luckily it wasn't like JFK or anything that was super busy, but it took us so long to get off because it was like muscling the plane off, and it was very rough and all over the place. So that made me a little nervous. That actually made me nervous.
That's scary.
Because had we taken off and then not had that nose wheel steering when we landed, yeah, you can crash.
Let me ask. I fly a lot because I get to travel and do a lot of things. And I don't fly private jets. I want to, but I'm not there yet. So I fly commercial. But when something like that happens, nobody tells you anything. And all you want to do is know.
Yeah.
No one's fault. You're not going to get mad. Do you at least tell people, hey, we lost our steering, or this happened, or that happened? You do.
Yes,
Because I think
absolutely.
every airline should do that, because I hate not knowing.
The reason why they don't do it on the airlines, I can only assume, is to keep people from panicking, because there's going to be that one person in the group that's like, "Mom, we're going to die," and you can't have that extreme panic break out.
I'll just throw that person off.
And it's the ejector seat.
Yeah. And there should be at least one.
There definitely should be one.
Yes.
So yeah, that's like the only thing that has scared me on, like, where you begin to you think about it and you're like, oh God, what if we had taken off, and oh man, what if it had happened? But I have really great pilots that I fly with, and
that's great. And you probably have really good karma.
I hope so.
It is a karma issue. It's like, it's not your time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've thought about that. Honest to God, not to be morbid, but you do think about it like, hey, if I kind of joke around with people on the plane sometimes. I'm like, hey, if we're going down, every man for himself. Like,
I'm trained to save you,
I'm
but I'm not going to.
trained to save you, but I'm not.
It's like when you
No,
said
I
you were a
won't.
lifeguard at the.
No, I was never a lifeguard,
Oh.
but he was saying, do you go through first aid and,
That's
and
right.
CPR?
So,
yeah.
so someone has a heart attack. You're not using CPR on someone.
No,
You're on your own, dude.
I would.
Okay.
I just joke around. I'm
All
like,
right.
it's every man for himself.
All right.
I'm going out first.
That's right.
No, I honestly think my training would totally kick in. And at times when it's been turbulent, I will like think about it. Like, okay, where are the life preservers? Where is the raft? Where is this? Where is that? It's rare that you go to that place, but you do kind of instinctually go there.
So you have all of this going on, and on top of everything else, you're serving people, cooking for them, and you have to prepare the menu. Isn't that true?
I'm a giver. I'm a giver.
So
Yeah.
you have to go and do all the shopping?
I do. Yeah.
So
You do the shopping too?
What's
Oh
a
my
typical?
yeah.
What's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
typical day? You find out tomorrow you have to fly to Cabo.
So I create the menu, and I like to create probably 6 to 8 choices. So, we do lots and lots of 10 a.m. departures. So that's a brunch flight. So I would say my typical brunch flight is going to have, breakfast wraps that I will make fresh. I do like an epic breakfast sandwich. I'll do avocado toast. I'll do omelets if people want them. Sometimes I do like a salad with quinoa and kale and whatever. And I just try to come up with different things. And usually it's like 6 to 8 choices, varieties, which in that sense, I think I'm a little bit rare. I don't think women in my line of business do that many choices, but I just have always provided that many options that I can't detract from it now. And my boss loves it. And ironically, he gets the same thing every time. But I like to throw something new on there in case, and sometimes I'll lean him in that direction, if I've spent a lot of time and energy the night before preparing it.
Right.
And, I made like a Italian style shakshuka, which is like a eggs in purgatory, which is essentially an egg cracked open over like this marinara deliciousness in a cast iron with a little bit of cheese and basil. And I told him, I said, "You're gonna like it. Just eat it. Just take it." He's like, "Well, I want to get the wrap." It doesn't matter. You need to choose that one. Right. Choose that one. And he did, and he loved it.
You could be a chef.
She is a chef.
If you do quit, you could literally be a chef. It sounds like
unofficial chef.
You could open up Bekka's place.
I'm a comfort food
Bekka's
chef.
Cafe.
Bekka's Bodega.
Bekka's Bodega on La Cienega and Melrose.
This bothers me a little bit.
What bothers you?
Because you're a chef. You're essentially a security officer.
I am.
You're essentially a host and a server. I mean, you're working 5 different jobs in one job.
You know,
and you do go shop for all the food, right?
I do.
And so who do they fill your bank account with money and you just?
Oh, I have funds. I have a credit card that I'm.
Oh, the credit card.
Yeah, it's that's all taken care of.
So take me through, like, you get that call. So what's the first thing that you snap into action?
So I mean, you witnessed this a little bit the other night. Yeah. So essentially, I have to know details. How long is the flight? What time of day are we leaving? How many people do we have on board? Do we have children on board? Is it all adults, et cetera, et cetera? So then I can begin my menu planning. And, I feel like the 10 a.m. flights, the 11 a.m. flights are always kind of between 9, 10, and 11. Not that they're tough, but it's not quite breakfast. It's not quite lunch. So I do have to have a variety of like lunchy type of foods and breakfast type of foods. And so I'll just plan my menu accordingly, and I will make a very long, lengthy grocery list and of ingredients, which sometimes I get into trouble because I think, oh, I have that in the fridge, and I won't buy it, and then I'll get to the plane, and I'm like, oh, it's still in the fridge.
Your fridge at home.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
So you have to improvise.
Yep.
You use your food sense.
Yep.
And it sounds like you try to be healthy too.
Yeah.
You're not
for the most
making
part.
stuff with like tons of gravy and butter and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and my boss he actually is a comfort food guy. So he loves like grilled cheese and tomato soup and whatnot, but he is wanting to eat a little bit healthier, so I've pointed him in that direction a little bit. But I always offer something that's hearty that, he can fill up on.
So where do you shop?
Gelson's. Yep.
In the valley on
I'm all about convenience.
Riverside.
I used to go to Whole Foods when I lived closer to Whole Foods, but Gelson's is my jam.
Okay.
And
you're there all the time.
I have a produce guy that caters to my every whim. He follows me around the store and gives me samples of fruit.
Wow.
Oh, that's nice.
His name is Alan. He's
they know
very
you,
sweet.
so you've come so often. They're like, "Oh, Bekka, come here. We got this for you."
So how many carts are you filling up?
Just one cart.
Wow.
Just one cart. I mean, you're cooking for, between 6 and 8 people.
So how many days a week do you go to the market?
If I'm flying, recently I've been flying almost every week, hence the cancellations. So I will go before every flight. So they do see me, and they know exactly what I do. And here's what makes it more complicated. I have to separate supplies like water, gum, sodas, tequila, stuff like that.
That's a whole other
from the food. So
of course.
So I always warn people in line, like if a line starts to build behind me and I have a full cart, I'll always guide people away from my line. I'm like, you don't want to stand behind me. It's 2 or 3 orders. It takes forever. You don't want to stand behind me. And they're like, okay. And they'll go to a different line. But it does take a while. And Max knows this, I have I feel like we all have elements of OCD to our personality. And so I like to keep all of my refrigerated stuff together because it's going to go directly into a fridge. So I like to bag my own groceries. At Gelson's, they're just not having that. Like, they've got people to do that.
Right.
That's true.
And they
so
don't
now
love
you
it.
have to train them what you like.
I love to bag my own groceries. I can't tell you how satisfying it is for me to bag my own groceries. I love it. I can make everything fit, and it's like Tetris, and I get everything in there perfectly, and it's loaded to the top, and I've got the eggs on the top.
Wow.
I mean, I honestly, if I ever retired from what I do, I might be a bag person.
So there's a little bit of Rain Man in you.
I would
Like,
say there's a healthy level of Rain Man.
Yeah, I put stuff in there. Yeah.
A healthy level.
A healthy level of
And
Rain
this
Man.
is-
Great.
Let me just.
So is your place uber efficient and organized and everything
Well, that's
is
what I'm
placed?
trying to
Max
say.
can
A place
answer
for
that.
everything?
That's what I'm
Max can
trying to
answer
say.
that.
You go into her house. I went in this morning. I said, God, it's immaculate in here. And she said, oh, there's dust on the floor. I didn't see it, but that's Bekka.
I hate the dust.
So she has what she calls her Monica closet. You remember Monica from, well, I don't know if you watch Friends, but for
No.
those of you who watch Friends,
I don't.
Monica had her closet where all the junk and craziness goes.
Yes.
There's nothing more warm-hearted than when I see the wreath for every holiday. There's a Valentine's Day
Just
wreath.
thrown in my closet.
Yeah, but then we just had Easter. She had a little wreath on her door of Easter eggs.
Super cute. That's like one of my favorite wreaths.
Yeah, and now it's gone because Easter's over. Like, I don't know how she does it. Think about all that she has to do on the plane. Then I want to know if you go shopping separate just for yourself. Then I want to know how she has 5,000 beautiful model friends. Then I want to know how she maintains that. Then I want to know how she's on the HOA board as the treasurer. I don't understand this woman.
Probably crystal meth and coke is probably what she does.
B, what are you doing?
Skittles and wine.
Wow.
Skittles and wine.
I don't have the Skittles today. I'm sorry. If I would have known.
I'm sure I have them in my purse.
Well, bring them out.
Oh, by the way, I'm the HOA secretary.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, I'm not the treasurer. Hell no. Thomas is the treasurer.
Oh, Thomas is the treasurer.
Thomas.
That's right.
Yeah.
You are the secretary.
He's such a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm baffled by her life. And then this is the best. So within 2 weeks, because I follow her on Instagram, it's always very interesting. And your stories are really funny because you taught me how to do the Insta stories.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I don't know why I laughed at the one this morning with your car.
Oh, my car said it was 104 and it was really only 96.
Yeah.
And
She's like, take it down a notch, drama
I said,
queen.
I said, all right, Bekka Mobile, don't be such a drama queen.
So she goes on these trips, constantly in the air, constantly taking care of things, constantly taking care of people. Then she has her downtime when she gets to the location. So 1 week, there she is, basking in the sun with a book down in a white sand beach in Cabo.
Yeah.
Literally a week later, she's in the snow-covered mountains of Bozeman, Montana, in this big furry, coat and sunglasses, skiing.
Ski bunny. Mind
you. But that's a great, full, amazing life.
It's amazing.
It's almost like you're a caricature of some amazing actress that just goes all over the world and has this amazing life. And
I think
they're
that's
paying
the
you
only
for
time
it.
she has time for herself.
My Instagram life is much better than my actual life, I think.
The perception of your life.
But no, and it's worth noting that I was at a local mountain. I was at Bridger Bowl. Shout out to Bridger Bowl, where I learned how to ski 33 years ago.
Wow.
And I told everyone on the mountain that I had been there 33 years ago. I was the only person dressed like that. Like, everybody's just in, like, tattered ski clothes.
Yeah.
And I was, like, full
completely
ski bunny.
fashionable ski bunny
Right.
outfit with the mirrors, aviators, and
Well, of course.
I'm like, where does she keep all
Well,
that
it's all
stuff?
designed by your boss, right? Does he design
not
ski wear?
the ski wear.
You sure?
Ooh, that's an idea.
I think he should. And then you could ski and you could be his billboard while you're skiing.
So true.
I have to ask, do you fly out of Van Nuys, Santa Monica?
We
or
actually fly out of Camarillo.
Camarillo?
Yes.
You have to drive from the valley to Camarillo?
Yes,
Oh, that's
I
a pain in
do.
the ass.
It
Wow.
is a huge pain in the ass. It's almost 100 miles round trip.
Wow.
Yep.
And they don't pick you up
Yep.
in the company's limo.
No.
Oh, that's a drag.
No.
That is the next conversation with your boss. Boss, you got to get a limo and pick me up.
I actually prefer to be helicoptered over to
There you go.
Camarillo. That would be lovely.
That's even better.
We could have a hello pad on top of our
We
building.
should.
I mean,
We
I don't
should.
That would
see
be
why
pretty
not.
awesome.
Yeah, it would crash through your.
Oh,
crash
yeah,
through
that's
your-
true. It crashed through my unit.
Remember when I was walking around, or somebody was walking around on your. So Max lives what I like to call the penthouse floor.
Yeah.
He lives on the 4th floor, and I'm just a lowly first floor dweller.
Oh, I see.
And
you're in the basement
so
of the
I'm
building.
in the basement, in the dungeon, if you will. And so the folks that live on the 4th floor have no perception of what it sounds like to have people walking above. So our building is lovely, and it's actually it's beautifully built, but poorly built. So they put lots of insulation between the units, like side by side, but
Yeah.
like literally zero between the floors.
Oh.
So if you
You
live
hear
on
every creak, every
first,
step.
second, and
everything.
third floors, you hear every footstep, which sucks. But again, like, you don't know when you're buying. So, so I always tease Max because he's on the penthouse. But at one
Right. point,
there was a workman up on his, right above
Yeah.
his, and he wrote to the HOA, there were footsteps. What's going on? What is this? I think it's an intruder. And I think I responded and said, actually, Max, there was a UFO that landed.
Yes, I remember that.
That's when we fell in love.
That's right. And by the way, this is our life every day.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I got to tell you, that's the thing also that is hesitant a little bit. Like well, there's other friends, there's the peripheral crew, but mainly I hang out with Bekka and Chow.
Yeah.
And oftentimes just Bekka or just Carrie. But, I've never, I've lived in apartments my whole life, obviously, but I've never paid to live in essentially an apartment. Even though it's a condo building,
Yeah.
now it's a mortgage.
Yes.
So there's something
Ditto.
a little more dire and sad about thinking that this isn't permanent because you get close with your neighbor. And
Yeah.
it's like, wow. I think about what would happen in an earthquake. And after I check my crew, I would be shooting down to the first floor to make sure you guys are okay.
For sure.
You know,
Well, that's
'cause
nice. You have a little community within
there is
your
a
building.
little community, but
and that's rare in LA.
it is. But what is not rare in LA is transient life, and these girls at any day could be gone.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden they're not geographically desirable anymore,
That's
but you
true.
want to see them
Of
anyway,
course.
and they could just fade into oblivion.
Well, and I think we're very fortunate. I always laugh because we do have a strong sense of community in our building. And this, again, I thank Carrie Chow. All the
Yeah.
props to Carrie.
Yeah. She's amazing.
We're like Melrose Place. And it's great because it is so convenient. You can go over and have a glass of wine or 10 if you want. And just walk back to your... I literally walk 5 feet back to my front door.
It's fantastic.
So-
Well, there's a lot to get to on that. I'm going to go on a side
Sure.
view because I know you set it all up. Flight attendant, private jet.
Yes.
Every male that's listening is thinking this, and they want me to ask this. Now, I'm not trying to be creepy, but I'm going to say you're
Creep
hot.
away.
You're really hot. You're beautiful.
Thank you.
You're great. So you're on the plane. How much sex is going on? How many times are you hit upon?
Well.
Is there the Mile High Club going on in your tight, amazing, fashionable, wardrobe, and you're serving your charcuterie, and you're going, hey, I have to go to the bathroom. Why don't you join me?
Okay.
How much?
She's a professional, right?
Okay.
Okay.
So,
But it's out
wow.
there.
I mean,
Everyone
I
is
could go
thinking
on
about
and
it.
on
Everyone,
about this
all
topic.
6 people listening are thinking about that.
Okay, so am I hit on from time to time? I would like to say my sparkling personality is definitely attractive at times. No, it does exist. Of course it exists. And it's more so not with my regular crowd. It's if I'm on what's called a charter. So a charter is when your plane is used for another group, like my boss would allow someone else to pay to use his plane, like renting it out per se.
Sure.
And so then you get folks that you don't know. And in the charter, people can be a little unruly.
And they're drinking.
And they're drinking, and that's very celebrity laden. And that's where I've met the majority of the celebrities that I've encountered.
And you can't name names, obviously.
I can't, but let me tell you, a book will eventually be published with
This
all my
is
stories.
now. This is the story. All right, so you're on the
She's
charter.
told these stories in private, though.
And they're
She just can't talk
celebrities,
about
and
them
they're
here.
drunk, and you're walking around in your fashionable,
Yeah.
hot ski wear. And
What are you getting at? Do you want to know if someone's
Full parka.
actually grabbed her
yes,
ass?
yes, that's what I want to know.
Okay, so no one has physically. Oh, wait.
Uh huh.
One person.
Okay.
did.
Are we
One person
expanding the
did.
Me Too movement now?
No one's ever. Oh yeah. No one has ever. Okay, I will share this story, but I won't use names.
Right.
But it's an extremely,
Mr. X.
extremely well-known actor.
Okay.
At the top of his game.
Okay.
Oscar-winning. Super. Narrow it down, folks.
Right.
Super, super talented, and super charismatic, and can drink a lot, and which is fine, no biggie. But when he is under the influence of expensive wine and by himself, he can get a little frisky. And I've always said, I've never really been chased around the cabin except by this one gentleman.
And this is a flight where it's just you
it was
and
just
him.
myself and him.
And there isn't even a co-flight attendant? It's just you?
No,
You're the
no.
only
These
one.
are planes that are. When I was on the Boeing, there was 2 of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually have a story about a gentleman on that. Anyway, that's another story. He was like, "You should come work on my plane," and he was a Saudi prince. And I said, "No, I'm good, thank you."
I will own
Crazy.
you. You
like,
will
"Give-
be in my harem. And we'll get to the harem, by the way.
So anyway, this particular actor did like literally chase me around and cornered me in the galley and put his arms around me.
Oh, that's scary.
And tried to plant one on me. Again, I'm good at the bob and weaving,
Right.
and I can handle it. So not to say that you should have to be put in that position. You shouldn't. But I definitely dealt with it as well as I could, and I can get very firm. So at the point where he was trying to like give me a little smooch, I said, "So-and-so, you need to lie down right now." And he's like, "Meh." And I said, "No, you need to lie down." So he lied down. on the couch, and I covered him with a blanket, and he was just kind of staring at me. I'm looking at you, girl. I said, you need to close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close them. Close the other one. Close them both. Close your eyes. And he did. And at this point, when someone is that kind of tipsy, they're malleable, and you can tell them what to do.
Right.
And he was very
especially
sweet.
when you're forceful and the guy's finally getting, you're not going to back down.
Yeah.
His celebrity is, hit that wall. You don't really care at that point.
And here is what
he's just a creep.
Here's what redeemed this guy. And not to say that wasn't annoying. It was more annoying than it was. And I ran to the cockpit and told the pilots, I'm like, I got to hide up here because he's getting squirrely. This was a long trip. So he slept for a couple of hours. And then he woke up, and then he sat on the couch with me, cuddled in a blanket. I mean, we weren't both cuddled in a blanket, but he was under a blanket, and I sat next to him. And for literally the last hour and a half of the trip, he was telling me stories of how he got his start. He carries this letter in his wallet that was a letter of rec when he wanted to go to grad school, and it said he was going to be an Oscar winner, and he was very talented, and this and this and this. He carries that letter with him to remind him of where he came from.
Oh, wow.
And this is arguably one of the most famous, talented actors of our generation.
Wow.
Ever. And
so he tries to be humble.
He is kind of a humble guy. I mean, he's had a lot of success, so that's obviously going to be apparent in your personality,
right.
but a good guy. So it was really hard to hold the drunken behavior against him. Wow. And then months and months, maybe even a year and a half later, that was a lot. It was a big jump I made. It was 2 months. No, it was 18. So who knows how long it was, but he was on board again. And he actually said to me, hey girl. And he was by himself again. He's like, oh, it's good to see you. By the way, he's like, I'm working on Broadway, and I'm doing this and that. And he was in a show on Broadway, and he said, yeah, he's like, I'm not drinking. I'm really healthy. I'm like, oh, that's great. That's great. And he's like, and I just wanted to say that I'm really sorry if in the past I've ever been inappropriate with you.
Oh, that's nice.
And I was like, oh, that's fine. And I'm thinking to myself, what step in the 12 steps is that?
That's right.
Are we making amends? What's going on?
Pretty much. But, at least he did.
But I did.
He didn't bypass you. At least he remembered that he was a jerk.
So this is why, again, not mentioning who he is, I still have a great respect for him, because he did actually recognize that behavior wasn't super appropriate. And
right.
He knew, and again, sober, he's not like that. So it was more just when he was kind of tipsy.
And he's trying to grow. Everybody can make a mistake and grow from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's trying to be a better person.
Absolutely.
And you got to respect that.
Yep.
Is there a bed on the plane?
So this brings me to story 2. I will try to make it brief. There is we can set up beds. On my BBJ, we had the 737. It was huge. That's the size of a Southwest plane. That's outfitted.
Oh, really?
It's outfitted like I call it like a Winnebago in the sky, because it's got a kitchen, it's got a big lounge, it's got a shower in the back.
So the private jets are actually now the size of actual airplanes.
Some are.
Yeah.
So that
and I do see them flying over my house. Actually,
that
sometimes.
BBJ is a rarity because it is so big.
They've really gotten huge.
But we had a bed in the back. We had a shower. Full shower and a full bathroom. So that was a bed that was set up all the time. It wasn't like you have to break it down and have seats.
And your boss could go to sleep on a long flight.
So that was my old boss. My boss, not the current boss, but the boss prior, like my boss 7 or 8 years ago. He had this big plane with the bed. And yes, there was some shenanigans that went on in that bed.
I bet there was.
Yeah. But honestly, not by him, ironically. It was he allowed people, he never chartered his plane, but he allowed celebrities. He loved celebrities. And he allowed a very famous couple at the time, and they are not together anymore, but they were a famous couple. And they utilized that bedroom.
Have you met people whose actual goal it is to be in the Mile High Club? Like they've never done it in a plane, but they really want to.
No one
so
has.
So they basically say, "Look,
sure.
we're going to be in the bed, service in the bed with your eggs and salamis."
No one's ever vocalized that to me and said, "Hey, this is on my bucket list," and hey, stay up front. No, I've had one other instance where there were some shenanigans going on that I physically walked in on, and I was like flabbergasted. So in 20 years, I've never walked in on any kind of activity. And this I did actually walk in twice.
All respect, I think you're kind of aging yourself with Mile High Club. I think Like
No.
post 9/11.
No,
that
people.
shit doesn't happen
I
anymore.
swear, people actually still use that.
They
They
do.
do use
They
that
do.
phrase. But I mean,
Yeah.
but
so I
and
think that
to
you're
me-
showing your ignorance by not knowing that they still use that, Max.
I just think it's disgusting if someone's going to go on a commercial plane into one of those stinky, awful little bathrooms with baby diapers in the trash. And
Yeah.
try
Yeah,
to
that's
fuck.
gross.
I
Commercial
concur.
without a bed. I mean, on a private plane, there's a bed and it's private. you
But
know.
Yeah.
recently there was an arrest. There was a woman
Really?
and a man who they didn't know each other.
Oh, gross.
They didn't know each other?
They did not know each other, and
Wow.
they were sitting in the row.
Wow.
And she reached over and started beating him off.
Wow.
And like under a coat.
There's a phrase I don't love.
Wow.
And they got arrested.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's a seat upgrade, if I tell you.
Oh, man.
It's gross.
It is kind of gross.
It's gross. Planes are gross, not the plane you're on.
Right. I want to fly private from now on.
Yeah,
I really
yeah,
do. I'm
we all
not going to
should.
fly.
I will
can't
tell you,
stand public.
You know, even working on a private plane, you're clearly traveling from place to place on it. It ruins you for commercial travel.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know, every single time I go through
Yeah.
that security line, they're
It's
taking shit
awful.
away from me because I completely forget. And I always tell them, "Hey, I'm flight crew," and they have said to me, I think I was commercially traveling
funny.
to like Mexico or Hawaii, and I was dressed in like sweats and something super comfy and like 3 hats on my head, and I had big full bottles of shampoo taken away from me or whatever. And I said, well, I'm flight crew. And I had like an ID badge. And they said, you have to be in your uniform. I'm like, this is my uniform.
Oh.
And it didn't work.
And
No.
all the other women looked and went, oh.
Yeah, it didn't work.
I
It didn't
gotta
work.
call Southwest and complain.
So, yeah. So I consciously try to remember the rules, but it's super hard for me to remember
Is
the
your
rules.
training good enough where if you made the leap, heaven forbid, from private to commercial, are you trained at that level? I mean, would it be an easy transition, or do you have to get more training to do commercial?
So, to be clear, I would never go to a commercial
know.
job ever.
I know.
But if in fact I tormented myself by going commercial, just not a fan. That just wouldn't appeal to me. Yes, no. There's like 6 weeks of training. Just because I have my level of training for 20 years every year, it's completely different.
It's completely different.
And
Okay.
I'll tell you, I was in. So the commercial world and the private world in crew members, especially flight attendants, look at each other differently.
Yeah.
So, you know, nothing was not more apparent than when I was in France. And, you know, because as private crew members, we stay at nice hotels and we are always upgraded and our rooms are relatively expensive. And you're staying in these hotels all the time that you are able to go to the concierge lounge where there's free booze and free food. And with commercial airliners, they just kind of have like a commercial crew lounge sometimes if you're in Paris. And I remember being in Paris, and one of the pilots that I was with was a ladies' man, and he saw a bunch of American Airlines flight attendants. And usually when you're doing the European route, you're a little bit older because you've paid your dues and whatnot. So he has these 3 kind of milfy looking, you know, older ladies that came up. And he brought them into the lounge, like our lounge, you know, where we're with all the executive business people. And he's giving them wine and stuff. And we're talking about, you know, about how I was on this flight where I walked in on some activity. And, you know, sweetly, the 2 pilots cleaned everything up. You know, there was a bed in the back that was utilized, and they cleaned it all. I didn't have to touch anything, which was great. I was just kind of a floating flight attendant, so I wasn't full-time on that plane. And I remember the look of disgust and abhorrence that these women were like, oh, you have to clean up after people, and you have to serve them food. And I was like, and I'm literally paid like at least double what you're paid.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
I'll
and
cook
you deal
some food.
and you deal with much less people
Exactly.
and celebrities.
And it was the disgust that they were just like,
That's
oh, we would
hilarious.
never. And I'm like, and I go to Paris 4 times a year, and I'm
That's
here
right.
for like 5 days each time.
They would change places with you in a heartbeat.
And I'm in Cabo every week.
It's pretty glamorous.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
Now, are you
just thought it was
literally
funny.
24/7? You know, someone calls you 2 a.m. and says you've got to be on a plane in 2 hours.
So literally, yes, I am
Wow.
on call. Realistically, my boss is way more, he's very conscious of that and he's considerate. So no, you know, I have more notice than just like, hey,
Good.
you got to leave. But
Right.
I have been in jobs where they call you and say, I mean, I went to Europe with an hour's notice once.
Wow, no kidding.
Yes, and that was
Wow.
not my favorite.
No, because you're
And
exhausted.
you can't switch a shift with another gal, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
no.
that's it.
But
You're
no,
it.
I belong to the plane.
Wow.
What's
Yeah.
the furthest you've gone from Camarillo to Africa, or?
Okay, so the plane I'm on now can nonstop. We can go nonstop to Paris. So the longest nonstop we can do is Paris. That particular plane, we've been all over. We've been to Japan. We've been to Korea. We've been to Europe. Haven't been to. I keep pushing Australia on him. I'm like, let's go to Australia or New Zealand, and he is warming up to the idea. I want to do a little South America. He's not warming up to that idea, but I would say the furthest I've been in general was New Zealand and Australia. Actually, yes, we did take.
Oh, you did go. All
We
right.
did take our plane to Australia, but it was a charter.
Right.
This was a tragic charter. We were literally bringing someone to rehab.
Oh,
And she was a
Terrible.
tragic figure, but she was lovely. And I mean, she was hammered, but I served her 17 vodka sodas
wow.
in like an 8-hour period.
Did she chase you around the plane too?
Nope. But ironically, I didn't actually give her. That would be over serving, and she wouldn't be alive. But I would just kind of like float a little tequila on top and then give it
okay.
back. She would have a full drink, and she
Wow.
would hand it back to me and be like, "Can I have a drink?" I'm like, "You actually have one in your hand."
Yeah.
But she honestly, blessed. It was honestly, I liken that to leaving Las Vegas. It was that bad.
Wow, that's awful.
Yeah.
But what can you do? You're not her mother, and
No, and honestly, the two handlers that she had with her 2 attorneys, came on board and said, "She's going to be hammered.
Right.
Give her whatever she wants.
Wow.
She's going to rehab. Whatever she wants, give it to her."
All right, her last hurrah.
Oh, bless her heart. It was her 5th stint in rehab, so I hope that she is okay. I mean, to this day, I
Right.
want to find out if she's alive.
Right.
Yeah.
When you go with your boss, is it basically just for his vacations, or are these work trips for him?
I would say it's 60-40 or 65-35. Probably 65 work, 35 personal. But as opposed to like my boss prior to him, it was all work. Like he never really vacationed. He vacationed twice. We went to Bora Bora twice. But this particular boss does spend time with his fantastic wife and kids.
So when he does that, and he's there, let's say for a week, well, then again, so are you.
Yes.
So you get to have a vacation too.
Yes, I
Does he put you up? I mean, there's a lot of it
Oh,
paid
no,
for.
Lorenzo. It is hard work. It is very hard work. No, we just took a vacation. We took a family
I mean,
vacation.
you're not serving his family while you're there.
No, I'm not. So no, we do get downtime. This is the best part of the job.
Of course.
So we just went to Puerto Vallarta for 6 days. And my mom commercially flew out and joined me. So
That's cool.
I had my mommy with me.
I
for a
think
few
you
days.
need your own personal drummer. You need someone because you're funny. You need someone to maybe do a rim shot if you make a joke.
Ba-dum-bum.
Someone to maybe give you a tempo every morning. And I could be
Absolutely.
that guy.
For sure.
So,
For sure.
I could pay for a hotel or Airbnb, and I could show up and just sort of serenade you.
I would love it.
And
I would love
I
it.
could be a 24/7 kind of guy.
I'll tell you. I always say I'm on a leash. I'm on a little bit of a leash. But it's fun. That's the best part
sounds
of the
great,
job.
though.
It's the best part of the job is seeing the world. So
Right, of
I
course.
did leave. I left the industry for a year, and I went to graduate school, and that was 2003.
Journalism, right?
Yes. I got my master's in journalism from
Oh.
USC.
Congratulations.
University of Southern Cal. Loved that. It was a fantastic experience.
I could see you on the news.
Y-
This is
you-
Bekka at the Hurricane in New Jersey.
Absolutely. Or like on the field as a football game is
Oh,
fine.
there you go. Okay.
But yeah, so I left the industry thinking I would never go back. And halfway into my program, I caught myself saying, "Oh, wow, I haven't been to Paris in a while." And I was like, who says that? Who says that? Come on. So I never thought I'd miss the travel. And they say once it gets in under your skin, it gets into your blood, it's really hard to escape it. So
Right.
the Disney family had employed me, and they actually asked me to come back. And so I said, as long as I can finish my master's, and they totally worked around my schedule, and nobody would have done that. So that was really sweet.
That's
I missed,
great. Well,
I
they
missed
loved you
one
then.
class. Yeah.
Wow.
They were really great. So I finished my master's, but I did come back in 2004, and I've been flying ever since.
Right.
So I do genuinely enjoy it.
And you did intimate this. If you do go personal, let's say you say, okay, I'm going to be down for 2 weeks and I want to go somewhere. You
Yeah.
cannot call your boss and say, can I use the plane just for one
Oh God,
trip?
no.
Can I stow
be
away on someone else's
awesome.
trip? You have to go commercial? If for anything personal.
Yeah,
That sucks.
Yeah, but I will tell you are not the first to ask that. People are always like, "Can you use the plane?" I'm like, "No, it's so expensive to fly that plane." So I imagine if I chartered it, I could use it.
If you're in Puerto Vallarta,
yes,
and you're flying back to LA, do you have to go shopping again in Puerto Vallarta?
Oh yes.
So
yes.
It's a whole different culture down there.
Yes. So I have my vendors that I use in the different cities that we go to, and we go to Cabo, we go to Puerto Vallarta, we're now putting Cancun into the mix. I make a joke all the time that I should pay taxes in Mexico because I'm there so often, literally going to be there on Sunday.
Right.
But I have vendors that I've researched and that I use, and grocery stores that I use, and I just have to make do with what they have, what they provide out there, and I do my best to provide the best culinary experience out of the country that we're leaving.
Right. So do you have to translate the funds then? Like not American dollar? Or no, it's still the card?
Yeah, I still use my credit card. Yeah. But, hey, have pesos, we'll travel.
Wow.
Yeah.
I need to get personal.
Yeah.
And what I mean is...
Bring it.
Max has been on the show. We've been doing this show now. This is actually episode 19.
Oh, lovely.
And he laments, my life is awful, and I hate people, my life is crap, and I'm this and I'm that. What people don't know is that you talked about, this community you have at the apartment, and everything's great. You guys have each other's back. Well, Max has developed over the years this little harem with King Max Koch and a couple of hot girls feeding him grapes, rubbing his feet, fanning him, dressing up for him. And you're part of the harem. So it's him and you and another person I've yet to meet, and I hope to one time, because I've heard a lot about her.
Chow.
Her name is Carrie Chow, who I guess is the Captain Steubing of the building. And
she's like the Julie McCoy.
The Julie McCoy. All right. All right. And but you're not the gopher, I hope. Are you the gopher of the... What are you?
What would you consider?
I guess Max is the Captain Steubing, right?
Am I like the Isaac?
I think you're the Isaac.
You're the Isaac? Great.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm
so
good for
he's created this little harem that he gets to either have over his house or he goes to your house. And he has this little world, which of course is so awful and terrible. Hanging with hot girls.
It's terrible.
And I need to know, number one, how it happens.
Okay.
Because it's every guy's dream.
Oh, I'm ready.
The guy's living the dream. I don't care how shit you think your life is. You guys are. You told me before we started recording, you guys have having panty parties or something.
No.
What do you guys do with panties?
We do not.
I'm asking them about that.
He just inquires occasionally
about your panties.
Well, I mean, no, it's just a panty joke.
Yeah.
From time to time.
You're just joking. You're making panty jokes.
Yeah.
All right, I took it the wrong way.
I made a joke.
I had a whole different vision.
I made a joke once about meeting up with them after a flight. And I happened to, you know where this is going, and I happened to be wearing tights. And I said to Max in a text, because it's, we're always communicating via text. I said to Max and Carrie, I said, well, just I need to peel myself out of these tights. And,
I have to remind him I'm straight.
I said something to the effect of, I just need to. You can't keep that all cooped up. I gotta take my tights off. And Max just had a field day with that comment. Like, no, please.
I kind of lost my mind.
Where are the tights? I need them. Where
don't
are they?
Take a shower.
Yeah,
yes, that's right. Yeah, that's his fantasy.
So
sweaty girls in tights.
So on that note of Max's harem, no, totally. There's a 100%. I am very proud to be a founding member of the harem.
Oh,
how does it happen?
And
he doesn't wake up one day and say, I need 2 hot girls at my beck and call.
I would say
I need Bekka at my beck and call.
I would say Carrie and I obviously we're either president VP or we're co-presidents.
Yeah.
But we definitely drive the boat, the love boat per se. But
so you're in charge.
We make a lot of
You're setting up
jokes.
the get-togethers, not him.
Well,
Do you wake up and say, I need a little Max Koch today?
He's like doesn't everybody say that? I mean, come on. I think
there's
we
a
all
handful
say
that say it.
But yeah, and there's other people. We actually we love our time. We love it's the Carrie, Max, and Bekka show, and we love that time.
Fun.
And we love to add other people, but the dynamic between the 3 of us is pretty special. So
yes, 4 is going to be a crowd.
So,
totally.
But we're open to to expanding the harem.
It's like a family.
It's a dynamic.
On Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
Not only with all of her work and everything, but she made her whole family this big, beautiful Thanksgiving spread.
That's really
and
nice.
It'll be like,
that's beautiful.
Hey, you want to come down and I'll make you a sandwich. And I'm telling you, she made a sandwich that was orgasmic. It
was
had
epic.
turkey, cranberry
good.
sauce, stuffing. Everything was on the
It was
sandwich.
a Thanksgiving sandwich.
And then it was
That's
there was
leftovers.
There was
Oh,
like
that
a
sounds-
drippings gravy.
Yeah.
That was the best part.
Actually,
Yeah.
my mouth is watering right now.
It was so good.
I
So
am
she's
really
like,
hungry.
Here's the sandwich. Here's beautiful Bee with the humor and the stories. Here's some wine. Welcome. And it's just like,
How could
yeah.
you say no?
Yeah, we had a good
You
time that
gasped
night.
There isn't a
with-
man that would say no
with
to that.
gratitude and joy.
Right, absolutely. And love. Because she loves you. I can
So I
tell.
do very hard. I try very
course.
hard not to cross the line or anything. But yeah,
Right.
there's
No,
always
you
going to be
never do.
dirty, flirty banter.
That's nice.
But mainly we're all bonding on a squirrel level because we
We are.
feed squirrels.
Well, I'm noticing people can't see, but there is a squirrel,
There's a
little
squirrel
mascot.
mascot.
She's never been in my car. The minute she got into my Kia
I said,
Rondo
"There's a
station
squirrel
wagon,
in here."
This is the first thing she gravitated towards, and she thought that Chow had gotten me this, and my friend Sherry actually got it for
Oh.
me. And
But you love squirrels.
I
Becka.
love squirrels,
Squirrel,
and-
that's your animal.
Well, dogs are more my animal, but I would say squirrels are a very tight second. And it's because we have
She's
neighborhood.
a great dog aunt.
I am a good dog aunt too. Dubu shout out. But we have community squirrels that come to Carrie's place and my place. Essentially, we hand feed them. So, and I had, may he rest in peace, Bob the squirrel was
Yeah.
like, I would just leave my sliding glass door open, and this squirrel would come in and sit on the couch and watch TV with me.
What? You
I had
trained a squirrel?
a
Amazing.
video to prove it. I think he was trained by somebody else
Yeah.
because he would just come in and
That's
hang out.
amazing, because normally they're incredibly skittish.
Yep, he was not skittish.
Wow.
He was fat. Oh, he was this big, furry, cute little fat
The truth
belly.
is, I'm a shapeshifter.
He
so
was-
I shapeshifted
Did that,
into a fat squirrel to go
you know,
see.
I
Stop
kind
it.
of thought that. I think that when you do pass on,
Yes.
you're coming back as
As a
Becca
squirrel.
Squirrel.
If I should be so lucky.
I think you will be. I think he's the human squirrel now for you.
And I've noticed lately, like, because I'm on the 4th floor, I go out and I look down and I go, well, I'm a little
You should
Yeah.
call him Rocky if you want to.
See, we both
So we're
we
talking
both
squirrel.
we both speak squirrel.
And I start to see them scurry out
Wow.
of the trees and they get onto the roof below or on the telephone pole. And I've noticed that the past couple weeks, the squirrel action isn't as heavy. That's because they're on their side of the
We're
building.
stealing
Right.
the squirrels.
They're stealing the squirrel.
I mean,
And,
they
and
actually-
are the squirrels male? 'Cause they
Well,
don't want to
they're
be with
both.
you.
They're
you
both.
think so?
Yeah.
There's
All right.
Carrie is the one that's the squirrel expert.
Yeah.
because
Really?
They all come to her house.
They come to
because,
her. She's the
well,
squirrel
because
whisperer?
She has been feeding them for years. I've only fed them
She's
for the
hilarious.
last year or so. But I would love to feed them more. But it's tougher. Like they will straight walk into her house too. Like they actually don't walk in, but they'll walk all the way to the door and they'll take the peanut from you directly, really gently.
That is amazing.
They're so sweet.
That is amazing.
And I used to think Chow didn't like me, actually.
Really?
Yeah, because I thought she was skittish like a squirrel. Like, I'd say hi to her and she'd bolt to the other side of the street.
Maybe a future part 2 is going to be the Max's harem episode.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Maybe we have to do that.
I think she would do it.
I'm sensing that. Wow. This has been an amazing episode. You know, there's so much to you. Either we
Aw,
do a part
thanks.
2 or it's going to be a 3-hour episode.
Yeah, no.
I know.
You know.
It's hot up here.
I'm a talker.
Well, but, I mean, I'm learning about you. I didn't know you until you walked through my door 2 hours ago.
True.
Is there anything you want to add to
Oh,
everyone
man.
listening that needs to know, the insights of Bekka Ramos?
Gosh, I like long walks on the beach and
squirrels.
and senses of humor and a good time.
Wow.
She's having a good time.
She is having a good time.
This is awesome.
Also, I have to say is that when we came up here to the studio, I forgot to bring the bottle of wine with me.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know.
sorry about
Max
that.
Has
We
been
could have
dry.
had more wine, but
Max has been dry.
The
for
bottle's
like
downstairs.
an
I
hour.
apologize for that.
I'll just wait till I get home.
Final thoughts, Mr. Cook?
Oh, I just think she's extraordinary. I'm really glad that we finally were able to work it out. And boy, I get all the real stories though, because she's very good about keeping.
He knows all the names.
We
that
are
I
going to do a
omitted.
part 2, and the added bonus is going to be Carrie Chow, and we're going to do a Max's harem episode where it's going to be nothing but these stories.
I'm sure her husband will love it.
Every single man listening is thinking, "Oh fuck, I now need my harem. How do I get a harem?"
They'll
It's
never-
every man's fantasy, really.
They don't know what to do.
They don't know what to do, and they don't know how to do it. You do
gotta-
it naturally. They gravitated to you without even trying.
Well, we think
it
it's
helps that they're interesting, and I enjoy listening.
yeah.
That's
we,
true.
We always tease him because boys are just not allowed to hang out. Max just dislikes every boy ever.
Right. And is he really a boy in the mix?
Meaning, is Max a boy in the
Yeah.
mix? Carrie and I talked about this last night. We
You talked a lot about me
We
last night.
did.
Is he more squirrel?
Because
than
I brought
boy?
up that I was coming on today. No, Max is like a girl in certain ways, but such a boy. So, like
a hermaphrodite.
You really have the
Yeah, what?
best. You've got the best of both.
Genitalia.
Well, yeah. I mean, the best
very
of both
sensitive.
personality traits, because you do connect with women very well, and I think you feel most comfortable with women.
Yes.
That's
Hence
true.
your great relationship with your mommy, who is fabulous. You need like a mom episode.
We
I
had one.
love- Oh, good.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
she was
love
on. She was
love
on.
his mom.
Yeah, B got to party with my
Love your
mom. It
mom.
was
Oh,
awesome.
that's a trip.
But
Yeah,
then
that's
he
great.
is such a dude when it comes to like someone's ass that walks by, or the whole panty situation.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
Well, what's
tights.
great is that actually you can hang with that. A lot of women couldn't even hang with that.
Oh, it
So you
comes
guys are
from
pretty
it comes
comfortable?
from such a tender, sweet place that I
But-
know
but
that
you have
this
to be
is.
comfortable in your own skin.
Oh, for sure.
And you are, so.
And knowing that.
And you can bob and weave.
Yeah, I could. Well, I never need to bob and weave the Maxter.
No, you
but,
don't.
the Maxi Pad, the Max. Just kidding. He
I
hates
might
when I
have to
say
call you
just
the
kidding.
maxi pad. I like. We're going to have the maxi pad episode.
Sometimes there's dark, but I very rarely see her. But I
you
saw
do
her a
see-
little bit last
you
week.
See, yeah.
All right.
And I do not like when she says.
But no, we're going to bring
"I'm
the
just
dark
kidding."
out. I want to record a little bit of the dark, especially with Carrie.
no.
We're going to drink more wine, we're gonna have
oh,
more
we'll
bottles.
have to make it a night
We're going to
show.
have the Max. Okay, we can have a night show. That'd be
Yeah.
fun.
Because everyone's working.
Becca, you were fantastic.
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks,
Thank you for
guys.
being a great guest.
Thanks.
Cheers to you.
thanks. Cheers to me.
Fantastic.
Safe flight.
No, thank you so much for having me on. It was really, really fun. It was really fun.
Final thoughts for everyone listening.
Final thoughts. Tune in, folks. This is actually a hell of a good time. Tune in to
Magazine podcast.
Don't you hate
Magazine
that title?
podcast. I think it's great.
Wow.
See?
You're the
I
first.
am
That's great.
redeemed.
Well, it means a lot to him that you said that.
It does mean a lot to me that
Thanks
you
for
said
making his
Thank
day.
you.
I like it. I like it.
Thanks for being a great guest. Thanks for
Oh,
coming.
Anytime.
And everybody, thanks for listening. Bye.
See ya.
Later.